Hello everyone, it's Jenna Ryan. Welcome to Self Love You. Today's video is about how to say goodbye to toxic friends, how to find that strength to say goodbye to people who are toxic to you. I want to start today by inviting you to my coaching service. I am doing online coaching one-on-one, and if you're interested in a coaching session, please email me at selfloveyouonline@gmail.com. I have a full schedule. We're right now at home because of the issue going on in the world today. So I am ready to coach you and ready to get you healed up and ready for a fulfilling life of happiness and joy, peace and fulfillment, because that's what you deserve. So email me if you're interested in life coaching, selfloveyouonline@gmail.com. So, okay, so I'm going to tell you, getting rid of toxic friends. So along the way, I had to learn how to get rid of toxic people. There were a lot of people around me that I didn't even realize were not healthy for me, were not nourishing for my soul, were not respectful toward me, but I didn't even know it. And so little by little, I had to start recognizing that certain people were not healthy for me. And as I learned this process, as I said, you know what, that's definitely not healthy. And a lot of you already know. I've talked to you, you already know you're in love with a very toxic person and you know it. And so what I want to talk to you about is how to say goodbye to that person when you are so enmeshed with them. You're so in love with them that you stay with them to your own detriment. How do you say goodbye to someone? Well, what the message I want to get across is that saying goodbye to someone is not easy. This is not an easy thing to do. A lot of times we expect a quick fix. You know, we're in a microwave society and we think that we immediately want to feel amazing just because we get rid of the toxic person. And then if we don't feel amazing, we can't tolerate our negative emotion, and so we let the person come back. So the key to letting go and saying goodbye to a toxic person is learning to self-soothe and stay with your own feelings and really be with yourself through the process of saying goodbye. Which means if you have to say goodbye, let's just say it's a friend, okay? Let's say it's a friend and you have discovered that this person is not healthy for you. Maybe every time you talk to them, they jab you. They're really sweet most of the time, but every once in a while they prick you and you feel it hurts and it's painful, and you've decided, I want better than that for my life. Okay, you made the decision and you're going to get rid of the toxic friend, but you're used to talking to this person every single day. You know, they're part of your life, they're part of your world. You have an attachment to this person, and saying goodbye doesn't really feel like an option. It doesn't feel comfortable because you would rather at least have someone than, someone that's there for you. This person gives you so much good. It gives you enough good to keep you wanting them there. So saying goodbye to them feels like it's impossible. Like who is going to fill that space in time? So I will tell you that it's not easy. It's not easy to love yourself. There's not there's not a panacea. Hey, all of a sudden this whole process is going to be easy. It's not easy to love yourself. It's not easy to get rid of toxic people. These toxic people are meeting some of your needs. Unfortunately, they're also harming you. So if it's a girlfriend, she may be the most wonderful girl in the world whenever she's being wonderful. But then when she's being bad, she's really bad. And that's hurtful to you. And so you've got to say goodbye. If there's a guy that's cheating on you and leaving you and coming back and leaving you and coming back and forth and breaking up with you all the time, then that is toxic and you have to say goodbye. And so I think the problem we have is we expect this to be an easy process. We expect to be like, no big deal. I just said goodbye. What we have to learn to do is to have strength within. You have to have strength within yourself to hold yourself while you're going through the negative emotions of saying goodbye. While you're going through that process, you kind of get down. So what happens is you say goodbye. We're just talking about a friend right now. You say goodbye to a friend that's been toxic, okay? And, you're down because that person doesn't call, you're not taking their calls, or you've blocked them, or whatever it is that you've done. You've let them know you need to take a step back or whatever. You are going to feel a sense of loss. You are going to have to go through a grieving period it's basically what it is. That's, the technical term is grief. You have to grieve the loss of that relationship because it did fulfill a need. But it wasn't meeting your needs in a healthy way, because somebody that's really great most of the time and 10% toxic is not healthy. You have to get that away from you. You don't want any toxicity. You don't want any kind of germs getting in your relationships. You want to have the relationships around you that are nourishing. And it is possible to get to that place. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's very fulfilling once you do. But when you're going through the negative aspects of letting someone go, it is not fun. Prepare for a few days of feeling down. Maybe a week of feeling down. Maybe even 2 weeks where you're just not, you miss having that person in your life. You miss being able to pick up the phone and call that person. And you may begin to question yourself and say, well, maybe it was my fault. Maybe I should have stuck around. Maybe I should just give them a call. Maybe they're not that bad. Was I wrong to even say goodbye to this toxic person? Or I sure love those memories. Here's the thing. You can love the memories and you can love the person from where you are. And just because you're saying goodbye now, it's not forever. Maybe later, when you're more healthy, when you're more where you need to be, you can come back and know how to hold them back with their toxicity, just depending on the relationship. You can eventually maybe do that. But right now, you need to get unattached, unenmeshed with this toxic person. And then you're going to have to go through a little time of negative emotion. The problem is a lot of us don't know how to tolerate our negative emotion because we are so inclined to just reach for something to soothe that pain. So you feel a loss, and instead of sitting with yourself and just allowing the loss and the feeling to experience your own feelings, you reach for something to ignore the feeling and thus abandon yourself. Okay? So what you want to do is learn to sit with negative emotion. Negative emotion is not going to kill you. You can handle your pain. Pia Melody said that. You can handle your pain. You can handle your negative emotion. But you want to get creative with it. Okay? You want to get creative and you want to know it's there. So it's important to, like let's say you just say goodbye to someone and you're missing them the next day. Okay? And you're like, God, I sure miss having a call. I loved our phone calls. I loved our hour-long conversations every couple of days. And I loved sharing. I loved talking about my clothes with this girlfriend or whatever, And then you have to say, and you have to recognize, and you have to be the parent of yourself and say, you know what? I am sad. I'm sad. I miss that person because I really like them. They were a friend for a reason, but they weren't good for me. And it hurts. And just sitting in that, your pain is not going to, it's not going to take you up. Feelings come, feelings go. So you're going to feel negative for a minute. The good news is that the feelings of negativity go away. And eventually you feel amazing. Once you go through that little process, okay, it's now depending on the relationship. If it's a deep relationship, it might be a little longer. So you want to prepare for that and do things to soothe yourself, and get counseling, get coaching, have YouTube channel queued up. YouTube's queued up for whenever you're going through a breakup. with a really, really difficult, close relationship that you have to get out of in order to protect yourself, you want to make sure that you give yourself room to experience the sadness from missing the person, because you deserve to have a little time to miss the person, because that's what happens. However, on the other end of the pain, if you will sit with the pain and take care of yourself, depending on the relationship, it might, self-soothing and taking care of yourself could mean medication. I mean, if you need antidepressants, if you're in a really bad situation, then you may need to go to a doctor and get that. You may need to join an art class. You may need to join a class. You may need to get counseling. You may need to journal and read books and process with another friend. You may need to, there's all different kinds of things you can do. You have resources. So you resource yourself. You figure out, what can I do? Because I know I'm going to go through this time and season of sadness. Now, a lot of people that I'm coaching, they just feel like, oh my gosh, I know she's going to come back, or I know he's going to come back. And they just sit there frozen because there's these toxic people that are coming in and out of their lives and really driving them nuts. And so instead of self-soothing and really saying goodbye and really releasing that other person, they're staying attached and just like this and not letting go and being very frozen and rigid. But really, you just can loosen up. You just loosen up and allow your feelings to just be and say, you know what, I am feeling sad. I'm feeling sad because I had to say goodbye to a toxic person. And I really enjoyed the relationship, but it wasn't right for me. So therefore, I am experiencing these emotions. And I'm going to take care of myself by just taking a walk outside and being there for myself. That will take you miles to where you want to go. Just sitting with your negative emotion. And on top of that, and then self-soothing, resourcing, I want you to understand the value. When you do this, on the other side is a new friend all of a sudden. Because when you start making choices that are beneficial for yourself, that are self-loving, suddenly your energy level, your frequency, what you're putting out becomes, I love myself. And you start attracting people that love you too and that treat you well. It is such a beautiful thing. And then you're like, wow. And you think about that person and you might think, this is a couple weeks, months, maybe a year down the road, and think, I still miss that person and I really love them. But look at where I am today. I'm so much happier. These relationships in my life are so much more nourishing. And it's such a better place. And then you might come to a place where you realize, wow, these relationships are toxic. Because as you grow, you learn to love yourself more and you learn to position yourself in relationships that are better and better for you until you get to a place where you're at the right relationships all the way across the board, where you're being loved, nourished, respected, where it's equal and you are actually connecting and experiencing intimacy and you are individuated and you are a whole person, and it's just a beautiful thing to work to get there. And sometimes we have to go through different levels of people. Like this person might treat you really, really bad here 5 years ago. And then you get better people and then better people. And then finally you get to a place where you're healed and whole. So you have to start the process of letting go. If someone is hurting you and someone is toxic and you know it, just prepare for that little season of negative emotion and resource yourself. Get the help you need during that time so that you can get over the hump, because the negative emotion will not last forever. Emotions come and go. They ebb and they flow. And you have to sit with yourself and not be afraid of your own bad feelings. Those feelings are crying to be experienced and expressed and shared. You can share them with someone else, share them with your close friend, with coach, with a life coach like me. Share it with a counselor. Share it with your pastor, whomever you feel safe with, and you want to find people that you feel safe with. So this has been a long video. I am Jenna Ryan. You guys, I've got one spot left for tonight. I think I'll probably will fill it here in just a minute. But we filled the class for tonight. It's 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm so excited. It's going to be our first Zoom class on Zoom. And then I'm going to be doing a ton of videos because we are, in lockdown in Texas. And I can't leave the house right now because of what's going on in the world. And I'm very concerned about the world. But that is for another video. But I'm going to be doing lots of work here. Y'all are going to get a lot of stuff. And I hope that you will contact me, selfloveyounonline@gmail.com, and let's get started on your personal journey, your coaching. Until next time, this is Jenna Ryan, and I will talk to you soon.